Hello, movie patient, and welcome to Film Therapy. I am Brienne, also known as Miss Movies, also known as your film therapist. I am not a real therapist, but I play one on the internet just for this show. And as with every film therapy session, I have a guest patient, and that guest patient today is Jason Daley Kennedy. Hello, Jason. Welcome to my home.
Hello, Brienne. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Yay,
Hey, guys.
so exciting. I feel like I have not been doing podcasting and vodcasting and web series stuff for like a month now.
You have not been, or
I
you?
feel like I haven't, but I know I did last week.
Why? What's been the
I
week like?
It's been a long week. Let's get into that in just a second. But
I'm
first,
anxious to hear about that.
okay, first, if you've never joined us before, here's how film therapy works. I have a guest patient, which is Jason Daley Kennedy. And what we do is we answer three questions about film. What is a film that inspires you? What is a film or a scene from a film that triggers a memory for you? Perhaps it's painful, maybe it's happy. And what is a film that helps you through difficult times? So I started this because I suffer from depression. I find that film kind of helps me escape that and it kind of helps me cope in some ways as well. And yeah, that's how it started.
It started. I mean, that's a really good way to start. Going from something that was a challenge for you, right,
Mm-hmm.
and then you turned it into an opportunity to help other people, which is one of the things that I really love in our world and try to
Right.
celebrate in our world.
Celebrate it. I try to celebrate it also. Like anytime that you can turn something into, I like to say, like, I turn it into art, but I
Yeah.
don't know if this is really art. Who knows?
I think it's art. I think you have a lot of followers and you have a lot of people who really kind of respond to you. And I think I think you're awesome. And plus, like, I would always benefit from therapy. A lot of people tell me that, which is strange.
Is it strange though?
No.
I think we all could benefit from therapy.
Yeah.
But before we get started, I want those people that are here with us today. Sometimes they're in the waiting room chatting, sometimes they're just watching. I want them to know who you are,
Right.
everything about you. It doesn't have to be like 10 seconds. You can take longer than that.
Okay.
We do class together. So,
Yeah.
and I've had other people from Marky's hosting class on this show. So I always tell them they can take longer.
Okay. Taking longer. Great. So we have 30 minutes, right?
We have as long as you
Okay,
want.
great. No. So yeah, so I'm Jason Daley Kennedy. I have a site called the Daily Kennedy, which is good news and conscious views. And it's almost daily. It was going to be daily, but it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
Yeah.
It is.
So that's kind of one of my Achilles heels, I think, is like,
Mhm.
let me do everything all at once. And I was talking to friends about that last night. It was kind of funny. But so the Daily Kennedy features a few shows. One is the Parent Wrap. I'm a parent, foster parent, actually, of two kids under the or 1 year old and a 2 year old now. And so I kind of navigate the pitfalls and pluses of parenting with other parents, talking about
Mhm.
them. And another show called Meditation for Assholes, which features meditations for people who don't want to act like an asshole, or if you know an asshole, you can nominate them to
To
uh, to
meditate.
meditate. Yeah, it's really approachable meditations, and honestly, all of the shows that I do are really approachable. Inspiration is the goal behind a lot of those. There's a couple other ones called Hollygood, talking about the good in Hollywood, and I want to have Miss Movies here on to start to do film reviews of the good films, which is yeah,
Oh,
I'm really
I'd
excited
love
to start
it.
to do
I'd
that.
love
Yeah,
it.
and
Expanding the brand.
yeah, exactly. um, yeah, and so I think those are the three. There's another one. What did I not talk about?
I
Parent
don't
Wrap,
know.
Meditation for Assholes,
Holly Good.
Holly Good. There's another brilliant one. Oh, Good Night Cat. Good news before you say good night.
Aw,
Yeah,
that's cute. I
thanks.
like it. I
Thanks.
like it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome very much. So before when we started the show, or a little bit before the show, I was talking about stresses in life and how it's just like my life is just one big stress right now. And I feel like the walls are closing in on me. They're not. I've come out of that. But I mean, I feel like often I go through cycles of like, what am I doing? Am I doing things right? And then it's important to me, but it's not important in life, and I recognize that. Do you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, but I think one of the things that I'd started to talk about before we sat down today is there are times where, and I've had friends who can be very well off, and they'll say, "Well, I'm really stressed about something, but at least I'm
Mhm.
not homeless, and at least my problems aren't that big." And what I would say to you too is
Mhm.
yes, and it's important to have gratitude for, the life that we have and the gifts that we're given, but also important to recognize that there are challenges that we have no matter how much money we make or how wonderful or blessed our lives are. I'm a big I'm a big proponent of, like, you can't get to where you're going until you admit where you are. And so for you to say, I'm really stressed and I felt like the walls were closing in and it's getting better, but there's still this thing, and identifying that thing, which in my experience, meditation really helps with, will, give you the opportunity to move past that thing
Right.
and then, learn from it so that if it comes up again, you may be able to spend 6 days instead of a week in it, or 5 days instead of 6 days.
I'd like to spend 5 days instead of 6 days,
Yeah.
just in general, out of anxiety. But I um I was just thinking about one thing that I found was like a major stressor for me was social media. And I was like, maybe if I take Twitter, which is like my biggest addiction, off of my phone just for a bit, maybe it's a day, maybe it's 2 days. I don't know how long. Well, so far it's been a day.
Okay. So
And
yeah.
I felt better. Like I
Hmm.
felt like I didn't have to respond to everything. I don't have to see what's happening in the world. I can kind of shut off because that is where I get my news too. And that's where it can be very depressing.
Yeah.
But shutting off from other things that I'm a part of. And I was like, ooh, this kind of is good. I kind of like this, but at the same time, I do miss it. So it's hard.
Well, what was it about Twitter, right? So it was
Mhm.
hard because,
It's just a place that I interact like daily,
okay,
you know?
interact, but daily interaction with the news that is the negative, right?
Maybe
Or
not the news that's a negative, but with other people on Twitter, a lot of movie stuff because I love movies,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah, yeah,
And so movie news and things that are happening in this show that I do called the
yeah.
Schmodown, and I just get really too invested. And then sometimes I get invested in the character that I play on the Schmodown,
Okay.
and so trying to like also portray that through
Yeah.
Twitter, which is just like I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, I gotta just stop for a minute. I
Stop it for
gotta
a minute
stop.
is good, right? And
Yeah,
and you have to stop. Like, that's actually, not to keep plugging meditation on this, but like
I need it.
yeah, I mean, it would probably be really great for you, especially because if do you meditate?
No.
Okay, so let's start. Like, you
Okay.
you come over to meditation for assholes, and not that you're an asshole, although your husband
Isn't it like an
might have said
acronym?
that differently. It is. Sorry.
Okay.
Asshole is actually an acronym, and it describes fear, different levels of
Mhm.
fear. So A is angry, right? The first S is selfishness, right? Like it's me, 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 me all the time. These all boil down to fear for me in a lot of ways. The next one is shame, and shame is another one, and that rears its ugly head particularly for people who are creatives, right? Like, I'm not good enough, I wish I were better. H is hurting or hurtful. O is overindulgent, right? Like, I'm overeating, I'm over,
I'm over twittering.
you're over twittering, right? Exactly. And right now you're over twittering because you've burnt
I'm
out on
over
it.
it.
Yeah,
Oh, just for
exactly.
a little bit. I'll be
Yeah,
back
yeah,
though.
exactly. L is less than, right?
Mhm.
Like, I'm just not, and that I love the saying egomaniac with an inferiority complex. Have you ever heard that?
No,
It's kind of a
but I like
12-step
it.
thing. Yeah, it's like, I'm the biggest piece of shit, and I always love that one. And that we kind of go into that on Meditation for Assholes. And E is ego. So that's
Mhm.
the different levels of it. And you know, uh, Jack Shipley is saying, like, he's like, you can't never over Twitter, but he was also saying, I can't meditate at all. I can't find that level of stillness in my mind. And you're my guy, Jack. Like, that's who I was too. I couldn't. I was like 12 cups of coffee a day
Yeah.
and running around Manhattan and in LA. And I kept saying I can't because I couldn't do it for a minute. Well, you know what? When I started for 30 seconds and then a minute, and then it grew and grew and grew.
Mhm.
And I got pause into my life. It was, really such a gift.
It is a gift. I'm gonna come over. We're gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Good.
Let's get into our first question
Okay.
for the show, which is, what is a film that inspires you?
A film that inspires me, the one that I thought about for today, was Big Fish, which came out in 2003. Jessica Lange, Albert Finney. Um, I really love this movie because, shame, right? The third S in asshole for Meditation for Assholes. It kind of for me, it's like I've always wanted to, accomplish something, or put something great into the world.
Mhm.
And Albert Finney's character in this book, and then in this movie, which I love very much, that was really what he envisioned himself as, and he shared his inspiration and his zest for life with his son, who's believed him, up until he was an adult. And then he was like, I can't take this anymore, you're kind of full of it, and
Mm.
you're traveling salesman, just isn't, that rhetoric for me doesn't work anymore. And so the beauty of this film is what happens when Albert Finney's character dies. And I just thought, like, so many different things. I'm a parent now, as I said, and I want to make sure that I'm a parent that my kids can be proud of. But the shame part comes in where, like, what if I lose my identity as somebody who wants to create content and push things out
Mhm.
into the world because I'm a parent? Well, I'm pushing things out to the world
Yes.
because I'm a parent.
This is so true. Oh my gosh.
So true,
So
because
true.
is this kind of what you've been experiencing this week
Sure.
then? Sure. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yes and no, because we lost our nanny. And when I say lost our nanny, that means that she's moving.
Mm.
So, or she was supposed to move like June 1st ish. But she is still around for this month. And she wasn't anticipating that at all. But we no longer have her. And so now I have to find someone to watch my children while I do this show, while I do
Right.
my other show,
Right.
while I go to class. And it's summer now, which
Hmm.
makes it even harder because the kids are not in school.
Yeah.
And so finding someone that's available in the daytime that can, in my situation, take my children out of the house, which
Hmm.
is can be harder too, because if you have them coming over to your house, no big deal. with
Right.
our nanny, we would take them to her house every time,
Oh,
so it
wow.
was a lot easier for me
Yeah.
to do something
To work
around the
from home.
house and work
Yeah.
from home. Yeah.
Yeah. Working from home. I mean, I had a challenge with that when our boys came, because I had my office in the back of the house, and it was,
Hmm.
and they were an infant and 1 years old at the time, so it was
Right,
like
it's
that.
different.
Yeah, well, no, it was loud, so I I ended up having to move out of the house. So I
Uh-huh.
because we're fortunate enough to have really a really great woman who nannies for us a few days a week, and that's been such a gift. I understand exactly what you're saying, though,
Mhm.
because you love your kids. It doesn't mean that you don't.
Right.
You want to spend time with them, you want to be there for them, and you want to enjoy all the moments you can with them, and you have the balance of having a career, a successful
Right.
career, and wanting to maintain that. And it's not
Sure.
easy. It really isn't. I mean, it's beautiful and it's joyful. Parenting is like the most amazing thing, and sometimes it's the biggest pain in the ass too. You like,
Right.
it's so funny, and I love the irreverence of parents who can say things like you're saying right now, instead of, "Oh, it's amazing. It's an amazing gift," or "I hate my
Hmm.
kids." Like, it's not. It's neither ever one of those things. Absolutely, I think.
True, absolutely not. I also find that not only, trying to find care for them when they are not here, but also trying to balance being a part of a movie trivia show where I now, like, when I have a moment when the kids are asleep, like, I either need to be studying movie trivia or I need to be watching a film, and like it bleeds into my life because like when I'm have a moment, I'm like, I gotta read this trivia book. Like, I need to brush up on my trivia. Like, I need to know these things. They could come up on my match. And then it's like, I really need to let this go. Like, this isn't as important as like I am making it out to be.
Well,
But
making
it
it.
is important at
It
the
is
same time.
important. Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that for me, when I looked at it as, or when I look at it, because this isn't like, oh, I did it, now it's fixed. It's
Right.
like
Yeah.
every day I got to wake up and make
I
sure.
gotta work on it.
Yeah, exactly. But when I wake up and I make sure, and I have an experience where I am on a schedule, I'm home with the boys on Mondays and Fridays, and I have, not that much time on those days to do anything. I make sure you know what? It made me very regimented in my schedule. So if I
Mhm.
only had an hour, and you only have that hour to do trivia and watch movies, you're getting a lot done in that period of time.
True.
And then it's more about letting go of what you didn't get done. Right. And
Mhm.
that's hard. It's like, oh, I didn't finish this, and I didn't complete all of these tasks that I thought I wanted to. So now I'm a failure as a parent and as a career person. Right. Do you
Right.
go there? I mean, or is that just me?
Oh, I definitely go there.
Okay. Yeah.
Always go to that failure.
And we
But
fail ourselves when we do that.
we do.
It's really about, like, stopping and taking stock and gratitude, and, like, I got this done today.
Hmm.
And now I have this time with the kids. And when they go to bed, I may be willing to do 3 more hours, or I may be so tired that I'm done for the day. And it's exactly where we're supposed to be, you know?
I'm sure. At least we kind of know that other people are going through this, but a lot of times they don't let us know.
The,
That's the other part.
not letting you know, like,
Hmm.
not sharing where you are. So you
Right.
can't get to where you want to be.
Hmm.
It's really important, in my experience, to say when you don't feel well, when you say you don't feel like you're doing enough, or when you say like you're feeling like you're doing too much. And if we don't do that, we're kind of selling ourselves short, we're selling our family short, and we're selling our career short.
Short. We're definitely selling our career short. Um, what I was thinking about, like how this all goes back to Big Fish, is how we were discussing about like living in fantasy,
Yeah.
like, and how often we do that. And you were telling me before we started about some screenplays that you wrote
Yeah.
that you still think about, like what could have happened.
Well, yeah,
Do you?
what could have happened, but it's also one of those things where I realized, and this was in a conversation with some friends last night that were over for dinner, and we had been talking about different books, like The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, which is a 12 week course in restoring your creativity and your inner artist, right? And somebody we were with was was an incredibly successful, excuse me, AD, and then he became a screenwriter and a director
Hmm.
because that's what he wanted to do from the age of 8, right?
And an AD is an
An
assistant
assistant director,
director.
excuse me. Yeah. So an assistant director on a film is very much the logistics person. They make sure that everything is running on time. And he was doing this for blockbuster films. And then, they are also the one who bears the brunt of everything that doesn't go right. Right.
Right.
And it's not a very thankful job until the film is wrapped and everybody's like, we couldn't have done that without you. Sorry, we treated you so poorly on the set. And I've been on a number of sets as a producer and as even worked as an AD a little bit. But we all probably have that 8-year-old kid who, wanted to do something different and
Hmm.
didn't. For me, I started wanting to be an actor, and then I went to advertising
Hmm.
because I thought that's almost like acting, right? So I told myself this story at some point that I should do something that's almost like that. And then with films, like I really wanted to do something where I was creating, and I was, and producing for me was the thing that really was creative. But I
Hmm.
was writing as well, and with the writing, I had written 5 screenplays throughout the course of over probably 5 years. And I would get to a point where I would get the feedback, and I would finish the feedback and maybe submit a little bit, but not really commit to sending these films out
Hmm.
and creating these worlds and creating these characters. And as a person who loves movies, you know that these are like people can make things up in their mind and they take you on a journey and they inspire you or they make you angry or they make you motivated. And so having created those and then shelving them for a long time, I realized last night in this dinner, like, oh, that's still there. That's still there in my psyche. And that's still there,
Hmm.
literally on the shelf too, of something that I want to do. And maybe want to do again in the future. So it was really one of those things where it's like I was able to experience somebody else's, pain for having to shelve something and turn it into something that I wanted to do again or revisit something that I wanted to do again. Does that make
I love
sense?
it.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think this,
it does make
yeah,
sense. I
I love that. Yeah.
Big Fish is, and people that have regularly seen the show before, it's a big film for me because it was the last film I saw with my friend Andrew, who died of cancer like shortly after. And
Wow.
like, since it was also a film about cancer as
Yeah.
well, I was like, wow, this is really, I don't know, how is he taking this film right now? Like, what
How,
is he thinking
what
while we
was he
watch
thinking?
this? I don't know, because I didn't ask him at the time. I just kind of, experienced that film with him. And my then boyfriend, now husband, was also there too. So we were kind of like, wow, this is really powerful,
Yeah.
because we didn't, we knew that there wasn't a lot of time for him.
Right.
So
How old was he?
I want to say when he passed, he was in his early 20s.
Wow. That's heartbreaking.
I want to say maybe 23 at the oldest, um,
That's
but could have
heartbreaking.
been a bit younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I, do you wish you would have asked? Do you ever say, I wish I would have, like, because of your love for movies and your
Mm.
love for Andrew?
I wasn't at the time. I was young 20s also. Oh wait, no, he must have been older. Now that I think about it, he must have been like 25 to 27, so mid 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I was young 20s, and I didn't see film the way that I see it now. So I don't have that regret of asking him that, because I didn't think of that at the time. Had I been this age and had I been working on this show and had I had that same experience, I probably would have regretted not asking him about how he felt about it.
Right. That's good. I mean,
So,
regrets are really not good for us anyway.
right,
You know
of
what I
course,
mean?
there's nothing we can do about them.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. They can be sources of inspiration, and that's it,
They can.
right? I think
Hmm.
that's really it. Can we talk to these people? Can we talk to these
Yes.
guys out there?
Did you
Hey,
want
I
to?
just wanted to say, Jack, Jack Shipley again. You're trying to write your first book. That Artist Way book that I talked about. Uh, that actually, when I did that, and I did it in groups, the first time I did it was when I wrote my first screenplay at the end of it. And then the second time I did it is when I moved to Los Angeles. And the third time I did it was when I went into, I think, like directing. So I've done it 3 times, and each time it kind of propelled me to a different level of my career. So I would try something like that because it gets the shit out of here and gets the good shit on paper, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, try it. Have you
That's
seen that
great,
book?
Jack. I didn't know that you were writing a book. Keep going,
Yeah,
please.
keep going. Yeah. And I love the millennial comment too.
Yeah.
Did you see
I mean, I can
that?
scroll back up, but there was a great comment about millennials, about something like being traumatized
Yeah,
because you're in a 5-minute
timeout.
timeout. And so
Yeah,
I'm not going to make my kids do that. That was
yeah.
great. I
Every
don't know who
millennial
that was,
ever. Yeah,
but awesome. Thank you.
Ballbag Mayor. I think
Yes.
that was.
Ballback
I love
City
that.
Mayor. I
Yeah,
think something like that.
yeah.
Let's get into our second question, which
Great.
is what is a film or a scene from a film that triggers a memory for you? Perhaps it's painful, maybe it's happy.
That was a harder one for me, because as a somebody who I love movies. I love movies that move me, right? And so I rarely will watch a movie where a kid gets hurt. I rarely will watch a movie where it's about like a thriller with a murderer. I don't feel good about those kind of
Okay.
movies. I get very angry. I feel like I can't do anything, and then I eat a lot, which is really
Not a good
challenging
cycle.
for me. Yeah. Part of the overall thing that, kind of, this may go back to inspiration, but it also may go back to triggering a memory, is the Blindside.
Mm,
And being a foster parent, that's really what it was. And we've
yes.
had foster kids in our family when I was growing up. And, I really just loved the portrayal of that movie of, that kid was so much older when he was placed in with Sandra
Mhm.
Bullock. And obviously there were, it's based on a true story, of course, too. But for me, it was just one of those things where it was like, no matter what happens, I need to remember with our kids, and we don't know what will happen, if they'll be with us forever or not. Um, that I'm making an impact on my kid's life, right? So that's kind of like a reverse of your question. It was like there's a film that I remember that kind of sticks with me when I'm going
Okay.
through the situations that I'm going through right now, being a foster parent and dealing with the sometimes challenging and tricky system of foster care. But I love the joy and the inspiration in that movie. I love Sandra Bullock, and I think she's an approachable actress in absolutely everything that she does. I believe she brings authenticity to every role. I think she's funny. Yeah, so
So Sandra Bullock, yeah, she's one of my favorites as well. The Blind Side, I do like The Blind Side. I know some people get upset about the fact that it's not as true to the real story as
right.
it could be. But that aside, taking a look at the foster side of it, you said that you grew up with foster
Kids in
kids
my
in your.
family.
Tell us a
Yes,
little bit
sure.
about that because I've never experienced that, and I'm sure there's plenty of people that haven't.
Yeah, plenty of people haven't. Plenty of people maybe didn't know that they had either. I had kind of a third cousin or fourth cousin that was brought into my aunt and uncle's home through the foster care system when her mother was no longer able to take care of her, and then another cousin who who was adopted by that same couple, who was that girl's son.
Mm-hmm.
She had at a very early age. And my parents, I'm very blessed because I was raised with parents who kind of had us doing service from a very early age.
Mm-hmm.
My dad used to joke with my mom that she had a V for volunteer permanently ingrained in her forehead. But it was fun, and we did things like that and learned a lot about what it would kind of take to be of help to people in different ways. One of the things that I know a lot about the foster care system now, having been a foster parent for a year, and I've done some work with foster care, including helping to create some commercials for foster care to encourage people like you and me to become foster parents. And then my commercial was so good that I became one. But
Aw.
yeah, no, so it's 450,000 kids in the foster care system, roughly.
Wow.
Yeah, and know if we're going to be able to be parents to these kids who you just
Mhm.
absolutely fall in love with. So it's funny that people will say things like, well, don't get too attached,
Oh,
which
that's
the kid
hard.
walks in the door and you're immediately
You're not gonna
attached.
attach.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, don't get too attached means don't have emotions.
Mm,
I just wasn't built that way. I have
yeah.
probably too many emotions. So yeah.
Too many emotions. I definitely have too many emotions. I have it. Foster care is something that I have thought about before. And it's just, I don't know why I haven't done it, but I think there's a fear of the unknown, you know?
The unknown is not easy. I will be
Hmm.
honest with you. And even when it is known, it's still not known. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? There are always ups and downs. But
Right.
the one thing and why I reference the blind side is I'll make an impact in the life of kids at some way, shape, or form for some duration, whether it's forever or for now.
Hmm.
And I have to keep kind of going back to that to see, what can happen. And the thing that the campaign that we try to do we did with foster care and an organization called fostermore.org is really showing the beauty that comes out of the foster care system. A lot of times in TV and movies, even you would see, particularly in TV crime shows, like the kid was a foster kid and then he like killed people and,
Yeah. Or he's troubled automatically, or
yeah,
yeah.
and that's not necessarily and quite often not the case.
Hmm.
And some of the brightest, most brilliant people that I've met, young people that I've met, have come out of the foster care system, or even aged out of the foster care system, meaning they never got placed. And one of the reasons that we ended up fostering now to start our family was after having breakfast with a friend of ours who was 24. She aged out of the foster care system. She graduated college. She's about to be a mom. She's one of the most brilliant forces of nature I've ever met in my entire life. And it was like, that's, we want that kind of kid.
Yeah,
So it's really cool. I can talk to you more about that too, obviously offline.
definitely.
But I can sign you up right now too. So I'll
Oh,
just do
oh,
that
okay.
real quick.
Moving into our third and final question, I want to know, what's a film that helps you through difficult times?
um, Vacation.
Okay.
Have you
Yeah.
seen that?
Oh, of course.
I
Thank goodness I have, because
yeah,
I miss things.
yeah, right, exactly.
But
No, I love Vacation. My husband and I. So when the kids came, we definitely started watching a lot more Netflix,
mhm,
um, and a lot more movies because we were home all the
right.
time, right? With babies, you're home all the time. So anyway, Vacation, we rented one night, and I've never laughed harder or more consistently in my life at any. And I love comedy. Like that
Mhm,
to me is what I do to check out is
right.
comedy movies. Comedy movies. Is that a thing?
Comedies,
Comedies. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just comedies.
So, but that one, I mean, I just think it's so brilliantly acted. I love when you can kind of follow a story, when Clark and come back
Yeah.
in, and this is the grown up of the kids that we grew
Hmm.
up with watching, Christmas Vacation, and so I thought that movie was brilliant.
It's something I need to revisit, because there's so many great moments that I think
The
as
new
an
Vacation, yeah,
adult I
yeah.
would definitely find funnier.
Well, this is the new one. That's the one I'm talking about with
Oh, the
Christina
newest
Applegate and
one.
Ed
Oh,
Helms.
that one.
Yeah,
I have not seen that one.
no, you have to see that movie because
No. Oh
yeah,
no.
it's so good. It's so good. No, because it really like it, and you will definitely appreciate it as an adult. Like
Okay.
there's a scene where Christina Applegate, they end up at her old school and at her old sorority house,
Oh no.
and she kind of plays this like sort of like conservative, and
Hmm.
Rusty is a nerd, right? So she's kind of this like conservative, not conservative. She's just like kind of buttoned up, right? And
Okay.
all of a sudden you find out she was the wildest sorority
Right.
girl
Of
on
course. Of
campus.
course.
And I mean, it was just like one of the funniest scenes in any movie I've ever seen. So I love that. I love to
Okay. So the
laugh.
new Vacation, is
The
it
new
on
Vacation.
Netflix? Do
It
you
is on
know?
net.
Okay,
It's yeah.
great.
It's on Google Play, Netflix, on Amazon. I think.
Oh, you got them all.
Yeah, really smart to buy them on all three platforms because you can't remember the code to log
Oh
in.
yeah. Oh yeah. That's
Yeah.
always fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. But I think part of the thing that I like is when people get hurt, which, kind of goes against everything that, I try to put out in the world, right? Like I love inspiration and I love,
Yeah.
helping people meditate, but I laugh like hell if somebody trips in front of me. It's the worst quality to have. There's 7
Instead
Rusties.
of "Are you okay?" It's just a "Ha ha."
Oh, I'll say, are you okay? If I can get
And
it
you're
out. Yeah,
laughing.
exactly.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Can't wait to trip in front of you.
I'm sorry, James Mastricom. I'm the first person who said that the new Vacation is good. I could have been sleep deprivation too. I watched that
True.
movie very, very tired.
It
Yeah,
happens.
yeah.
That's the fifth Rusties. Oh, let's see if we can name them. Anthony Michael Hall is one of them. The guy from the Big Bang Theory is another one of them.
And he was in Married with Children with Christina Applegate,
Yes,
which
he
plays the wife
was.
in this one. That's funny.
Whoa. And then who's Rusty in this one? It's not Chris
Ed
Helms.
Helms.
Ed Helms. Okay.
Oh, Chris
And
Hemsworth is that's a brilliant role in that
okay,
movie
great.
too.
I'm
Or,
excited for him. I
yeah,
like him.
yeah, me too.
So there's two we're missing.
I don't know the other
I don't
two.
know the other two.
Johnny
John,
Galecki. No, that's the
that's all we
one
got.
for
Okay.
Christmas
But
Vacation.
good, we got his name now.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What other vacation? So
The Vegas
oh,
one.
European. Was that
European was still Anthony
Galecki?
Michael Hall.
Oh.
Yeah, he did it twice.
Vegas one.
They did a Vegas vacation.
I'm gonna say that one.
Right. Okay. So there's vacation, European vacation. I know there's Vegas vacation. There's Christmas vacation.
Which is a classic.
I feel like there's another one, but I don't know. And then there's this one. So,
I don't know the fourth.
So maybe there's only 4 Rusties.
Wait, Ed Helms, Anthony Michael Hall, and Johnny Galecki. I only know of 3. What was the fourth? Jason Lively. What? Somebody's on IMDb right now.
Who's that?
Ethan Embry. Okay. All right.
Wow.
Thanks, Jack.
We're getting there. We're getting there. So was it someone different in European Vacation, or was it still Anthony Michael Hall? I don't know.
Christmas, European, Vegas, and New.
Oh.
One of the other movies I love, if I can tell you another one, is Love Actually.
Oh yes, I love Love.
Isn't that great? It's like my favorite, one of my favorite Christmas movies.
It's one of my favorite Christmas movies too. Although it was just anytime movie.
Yeah, but I don't know why. I only watch it at Christmas.
Well, because there's Christmas themes.
Yeah.
So I get it. There are parts that are depressing though. Like I feel really bad for Emma Thompson.
That is one of the most moving scenes, right? Where she doesn't say, she's a brilliant actress. But when she doesn't say anything in that closet after she sees that the gift is actually for that hussy, I love her.
And then like how she brings it up too.
Yeah.
Very casually.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, would I have brought it up then? When would I have brought something like that up? Would I have brought it up? Probably.
I might have done it in front of a large group of people.
Sure. You got to have people around.
Yeah, like a large group. So beware.
So here we go. Vacation, European vacation, Christmas vacation, Vegas vacation, and the new vacation.
So there's 2 vacations.
Vacation.
Huh. They should do staycation. No.
Oh.
Maybe.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Film Therapy. Thank you so much for coming on this show.
Thank you so much for having me and for giving me some therapy today. I feel like I'm going to walk out of here a little bit later.
I think I am too, because you helped me at the beginning as well. I'm going to come over for the meditation for assholes.
I'm even going to help you with that today too.
Okay, good.
We'll do it off camera, but then you can come over for meditation for assholes.
I do have on my phone, what is it? Breathing Box?
There's a ton of apps, and I really believe apps are amazing. You know, from a meditation perspective, there's everything from, Headspace to Wellzen. Eventually Meditation for Assholes will be an app, but the Wellzen I really like a lot. I like things that don't get too preachy. That's my thing.
Okay, good.
So
where can everyone find you?
TheDailyKennedy.com. You can find me at Twitter and Facebook on The Daily Kennedy, and Jason Daley Kennedy on Instagram.
Nice.
Thanks.
Very exciting. You guys can find me all day, every day on Twitter, although I have been off for a little bit. But I'll be back. I'm sure I will, with a new take on Twitter. A mindful take on Twitter. Maybe it'll just be on my desktop and not on my phone. That's good. Turn off those notifications. Some ideas. I don't know, guys, but I'm there. You can find me there. You can also find me at missmovies.net. Check out my website there. I have a store now. What? Whoa. I got a store. I got merch. There's merch for 6 Degrees of Feature Film with Stacey Howard. So you can find that on my website, missmovies.net. If you go to contact, or if you go to my blog, I wrote a little bit on it. So yeah, there you go. I'm gonna buy it. Check it out. Bye. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye. 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 Bye.